Last time we spoke about, in general, this class, and we stopped at this graph. And this graph, I removed the y-axis because it was confusing. And it just summarizes what we are going to go through. So this is in general, the expansion of the Muslim Ummah, starting from the time of Medina, right? The Muslims were just in Medina, there was nothing. And then very fast expansion for the first 150 years, right? This is the time of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam, and then Abu Bakr and Umar and the Khulafa al-Rashida and the Amawids. Very huge expansion. And then we hit a flat period, right? This is topple happened in the political system. The Abbasis came in, and there was no decline, but there was no expansion. It was just stable for some time. And it stayed like this for about 200 years, right? Maybe more. And then suddenly we have a period where expansion started to happen in India, right? We'll go through this inshallah in details when there is a guy called Mahmud ibn Sabaktakin or Mahmud al-Ghaznawi started from Afghanistan to go into India and nowadays Pakistan. Not Pakistan, but yeah, northern Pakistan, Punjab and northwest India. Okay. And then the rise of the Crusaders started. And the Muslims started to contract a little bit in the Mediterranean, in South Italy, in Sicily, in Spain, as well as in Sham, in Palestine and Syria and this area. So there was a contraction period for about 100 years. And then the Mongols appeared, and suddenly the Muslims got, like, this was the biggest disaster that the Muslims saw ever, around the years 600, 700. Okay. Muslims took a huge hit. Baghdad got decimated by Hulaku. And then something very weird happened. Okay.
Can I interrupt a little bit?
Yeah.
Just on the parallel, right? Where is the civilization of expansion to Spain?
In the very beginning. So the Muslims went into what is nowadays Spain in the very beginning.
Okay. You didn't mention, but it's there.
That's all the expansion. So, and they stayed until the rise of the Crusaders, when the Muslims stayed in most of Spain, but maybe lost half of Spain, something like that. But nowadays Spain.
What's the y-axis?
It's just land, area, expansion, and it's not to scale, it's just like showing like direction, right? Direction, okay. So after the Mongols, the whole eastern half of the Islam area got decimated. What happened is, after a while, these Mongols who conquered the Muslims, who killed the Muslims, who were dominating the Muslim lands, started themselves adopting Islam. And this is the only time in history, never happened before, never happened after, where a group that is a winning group adopts the religion of the defeated group, right? It always happens the other way. Ibn Khaldun, a very famous historian, has a saying that the defeated one is always obsessed by copying the victorious in his ways, in his dress, in his eating, his ethics, everything, in his religion. Defeated always obsessed by following the victorious. So in this case, the victorious is the one who copied the defeated. This is very unique.
You're saying this has happened the first time in history?
The first and the last time in history.
The first time would be the Romans. The Romans converted to Christianity, even though they were the conquerors.
The Romans created Christianity, the modern Christianity. That is different.
They converted to that Christianity that but the point is,
there was no Christianity that they conquered and then adopted. This is the religion that grew, it's a movement that grew within the empire, and then they adopted it and customized it. It's different. It's woven in, right? But this is a religion that was pre-existing, but the people of it got defeated, and then they adopted it as is, without adjusting it, without modifying it, without adding a Mongol god or a Mongol son of God or anything. It's just as is, they adopted, right? Maybe they didn't follow strictly, but they didn't have to change. And with the Mongols came actually another expansion into what is nowadays Russia and this area, because the Mongols were already, before they adopted Islam, conquered that area. So when they become Muslims, they came with them, the area. And with them happened the rise of the Ottomans. And then we have a period of stability, and then the rise of Christian Europe in the last 300 years, and the decline of the Muslims. And that's where we are now. We don't know what's going to happen after that. Are we going down, up, stable? Allahu A'lam. Whoever live for the next 50 years is going to see what's going to happen to that curve, inshallah. So, couple of points before we go into today's lecture. This managing expectations. This class is not a deep dive into history. It is the complete opposite of a deep dive. So we are not going in depth, because this history is a deep well, right? It has no لا قرار له. It has no base. I was reading some 15-20 years before a book called تاريخ الطبري. Okay, تاريخ الطبري is a huge 12-volume history book, and I read maybe at some parts of it, maybe 20-30 pages describing a battle. And this battle was so insignificant. It was fought between maybe 100 guys on one side and 150 guys on the other side, and the total, it was inconclusive, and grand total of 3 people died on this battle. Okay, and maybe it was maybe not 20 pages, 2-3 pages, but that's how much details it can go through, right? And these details can be interesting for whoever is interested, but that's one extreme. Another example, there's a YouTube channel called The Great War. And for 4 years, from 2014 to 2018, it was posting every week a 1-hour video speaking about 1 week of the World War I. 1 week of the history. So 1 hour speaking about 1 week of the history of World War I for 4 years. That's a 200-hour documentary on YouTube. And I watched all of their episodes, amazing. But anyway, that is so much deep dive. What we're doing here is the complete opposite. We're going to the other extreme, where we are going bare bone. We're just looking at, so today we're going to look at these from 1700 to now, these last 300 years in just half an hour. So that is impossible. So how are we going to do it? We're just going to pick 6 key turning points, and we're going to look at it, and from that is going to drive us. So basically, the world affairs are unfair, right?
Sure.
Okay, so if you go to the next slide, I have 4 answers that typically come up. Meddling in their affairs, because you meddle in their affairs, right? You want to destroy their infrastructure, etc., etc. The next one is because centuries of colonization, right? Okay. The next, there is some geopolitical rivalries there. And finally, unfair global systems, the hypocrisy, all that is, it's just that is what typically comes up, okay? So, however, if we go into these 4, Latin America, the United States meddle in Latin America's affairs more, but it's not the same, right? You don't get the same response from Latin America. It doesn't click the same way. Next slide, then you have, we're not gonna go there, we don't have time. Geopolitical rivalry, China is the biggest geopolitical rivalry. Again, still, there is some hatred, but it's not clicking the same. There is a different dynamic here. The next one, centuries of colonization, you have India, the Hindu India. Actually, that hate does not exist, so it's not clicking, it's still the same. Okay, unfair global, the sub-Saharan Africa, especially the Christian Africa, again, not the Muslim part. If we go south in Christian Africa, is the definition of unfairness in the world, right? Still, just you don't see the same happening from there. So, what is the difference between these cultures and the other culture is, go to the next one, is the narrative, okay? There is a narrative that is different. And this narrative is the narrative of the last 300 years. So what is this narrative? If you go to the year, that is what? 600, okay? 1600, I'm sorry, 1600. This is the world map, almost, more or less, 1600. So what do we have here? We have here Songhai Empire, that's a Muslim empire controlling mostly West Africa, Morocco, Ottoman Empire, Safavid, which is a Shi'i Muslim empire, the Mughal, most of India, and then there are all these unnamed parts are Muslim Mongols that accepted Islam, and then you have China, some non-Muslim Mongols, and some Europeans. Okay, so if we map that a little bit differently, this one.
What is HRE?
Holy Roman Empire, Germany. It was called Holy Roman Empire because, as Voltaire likes to say, it was not holy, not Roman, nor an empire. That's why they call it the Holy Roman Empire. It's a different story, but Germany at that time, basically, Central Europe was a group of tens of independent kingdoms and principalities and princes and small counties, etc., that were united under a very weak confederacy called the Holy Roman Empire. And it had an emperor, but he wasn't really ruling all these. It was kind of independent. It's a very complex political system that was in Central Europe during 1200 till Napoleon destroyed it in 1800. So for 600 years, that it was the Holy Roman Empire. You can call it Germany in one way or other. It's the German nation. So if this is the world map, you have here all these, again, non-Muslim African areas, and they're actually less than that, but in there, they don't have a united culture. They don't have a united religion. They don't have a language. It's not a united. It's just a bunch of tribes. A lot of them didn't even have big kingdoms. And then when the European colonization came, they gave them the current religion that they follow. They gave them the current countries that they are in. So there is nothing that they aspire to really before colonization. I mean, colonization was bad and everything, but it gave them what they are now. They are defined now by these 2 centuries of colonization. This is Europe. It wasn't huge. It's actually smaller than that. The map is not very accurate. And then you have China, which China was China and it's still China. So what happened? There is nothing changed that much. And then you have small in South India, the Hindus there, and you can see colonization actually allowed them to expand, and then the entire world was this Muslim civilization. There is a very famous traveler, explorer called Ibn Battuta, known. So Ibn Battuta in the 1300s, he made a trip all the way from Morocco over there, all the way till India, Russia, and he visited China, and he went back. He went to Somalia, he went to Andalus, he went to Mali, and through all his trips, in every place he went, he found the masjid, he stayed with the local mashayikh, he found a job, he can communicate. He found himself a wife, found himself home. The only time where he was not happy in his travels is when he went to China. And even though he found some masajid there, some Muslims, but it was a minority thing, he was not comfortable. But he traveled the world and he felt home, because all this was one culture. It's the Muslim. Yes, it is fragmented, it's different Muslim emir, there are wars between them, but as a traveler, he doesn't care. He just goes from one place to another and feels welcomed in home, no difference. So that's the narrative, that's what we had. And then from there, we get to this. And I think this is 1900 or 1920. All this is England, that pink color. The blue is France. That green is China. It's like, where are the Muslims? No, almost doesn't exist. Tintin, okay? So the narrative is, how did we went from this to that? So again, 6 key points. We'll stop at it and we'll see how we went from here to there in 6 stops. Okay, inshallah. So our first stop, 1571. Muslims are still good, fine, actually winning battles on land. However, we have this battle. It's a navy battle. So the Ottoman Empire was a land force, but in the early 1500s, it decided to create a navy. Created a navy, and it defeated the Venetians, the Spains, the Spanish Armada, and they were very successful, especially under 2 main commanders. One's Barbarossa and the other is Sinan Pasha. Anyway, very successful navy, and it was just going through the Mediterranean, right? And then 1571, this battle happens. The League is from Italy, Navy, Spanish Navy, Greece Navy, Australian Navy, all they collect about 260 ships against the Ottoman 250 ships. The battle goes on, and it was a huge defeat for the Ottomans. This is the first main defeat. Yeah. This is the first main defeat for the Ottomans like ever. I mean, they had small battles, defeats here and there, but nothing major, nothing like, this is the first time where almost the entire navy of the Ottomans got defeated. And it was a huge battle, right? The Ottomans looked at this and said, you know what, navy, ships, we can build another. In 2 years, they built all these ships again. And the Ottoman Grand Wazir has a very famous quote that you just cut one hair from the Sultan and it will grow stronger. But we, at this war, the bigger war, not this battle, the Ottomans took, Cyprus in this war. So we took Cyprus and you'll never take it, but you will never take it back. So that's like cutting a limb from you. So the whole attitude was arrogant. Okay. Now, last time when we spoke about defeat, we identified 4 reasons in general for defeat: lack of faith, lack of technology, disunity, and khiyana. Conspiring or leaders who are not faithful. So let's analyze this battle, see what happened. If you go to the slide, Chomo. Okay, so first of all, technology, it was almost the same. Same technology, same type of ships, that's fine. The Austrians have, the Venetians have a slightly larger ships, about 6 ships at the front, and they were very effective, but it was more a matter of style than a matter of technology.
So which one which one the Ottoman?
So these are the Holy League, right? The Europeans.
Same thing with the back?
No. These are the Ottomans attacking the Holy League. And these ships are with their cannons running havoc. That's why they're destroying a lot of ships that are attacking them, because they had a lot of gunfire. Now, what happened in this battle, there was 3 leaders, right? One leader here, one leader there, one leader there. 2 of them got killed in the battle. And the third was about to get killed and just escaped barely.
Barbarossa is
No, Barbarossa, Barbarossa died before. Yeah, and Sinan Pasha died before that. So this is a new generation. Okay, so this is a new generation. So my point is, the leaders were fine. They actually were good tactically, and they were faithful. They fought until both of them killed, right? Or 2 out of the 3 generals got killed, or the admirals. Okay, so it wasn't lack of technology really. It wasn't lack of good leadership. I mean, there was some mistakes in the leadership. The scout thought that the European ships are less. They thought there are just 100 ships, but it happens. It's a normal mistake. What else we said? Lack of faith, unity. Actually, before the battle, the admirals from Italy, Spain, and Greece were always fighting among each other because they were fighting on command, while the Ottomans were a united force. So if we look at united, actually, it's the other way around. Okay, so what was the fourth?
conspiracy against
We had conspiracy.
technology.
Yeah, lack of faith. Okay, was there Khiyana? We said the guys actually died in battle, so can't say they were traitors, right? And the whole army, 25,000 out of the 30 actually fought till death. So it was.
So there is no Khiana.
There is no Khiyana there whatsoever. The guys fought to the last moment. Okay. So what happened was mostly. It was just like militarily, when they analyzed it, it was just luck. When they were attacking, the air blew on the other side, etc. So if I want to analyze it, I would say it was just fate. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wanted to give a sign that you saw the answer of the Grand Wazir. It is the mentality of لن نغلب اليوم من قلة. We are more strong. We cannot be defeated. We are the Ottomans. We are great, and we have Allah in our side. It's not the humility of we have Allah on our side, but it's the arrogance of we have Allah. It's like we are amazing. We can't lose. And anyway, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is going to give us our victory. He has to, right? We are good. There is this sense of pride, and this might be some test or some message coming that, hey, wake up. So it's like kind of a wake up call.
But in Islam, it's actually pride is recommended in war. You're supposed to be prideful. You're supposed to have ego. You're supposed to be.
In front of enemies. In front of enemies, yes.
Yeah, in front of enemies. That's what they're doing. They're responding to the enemies.
Okay, right, but
It's a very big thing actually. It's recommended even.
But now it's certainty.
but it's yes you are saying, but you can feel that this was not only talk to the enemy. It was really what they thought internally.
Oh yeah.
That's the.
Well,
They really thought that we are invincible.
I mean, according to that sentence, they didn't include anything on Allah. They were just talking about their little empire, their little dynasty. They didn't include the business because they were saying you only plucked a strand of hair from the Sultan's beard.
Yes.
Who's the Sultan?
Yes.
And it's like, yeah.
But I get your point, and it's correct. But again, the point is they were really arrogant. So someone who said complacent last time? I don't have him. Yeah, Ahmad's not here.
No, so it's basically like an example of the Battle of Hunain, right? With the Sahaba, they were
لن نغلب اليوم من قوة. We are not gonna be defeated today out of lack of numbers. That's exactly what it is. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sent them a wake-up call, right? So this might be just a wake-up call. However, after this battle, what happened is the Ottomans continued to have victories on land. But as I said, the Ottomans were never actually a naval power. This was a short time of 50, 70 years of great, and after this defeat, they kind of shrunk into the Eastern Mediterranean. Because naval wars are horrible. You fight, you drown, or you get burned on the ship, or the fight is to death on the ship. And when people get caught, they get enslaved to work in rowing down in these ships for the rest of their life. It's horrible. No one would, and in general, the life of Navy, it's a very horrible life. No one wanted to live this life in general, and that's why Muslims in general were not very good in Navy.
Another point is that the only Islamic power is okay, not the only. The Khilafah is in Ottoman, right? But at the same time, 100 years or 200 years ago, we lost Granada. We lost Spain, basically. The whole Spain's got engulfed to the Christian nation. Because I also come from Malaysia, Indonesia, right? Indonesia at that point is being Portuguese, Netherlands, right?
So what happens is, talking about Malaysia. So what happens? Because of this battle, and not because only, but because the Ottomans got stuck after this battle into naval power, they got there in the East Mediterranean, right? While Europeans, especially Spain and the Portuguese, started to expand through the world with their navy. So yes, the Ottomans are strong on the land, the Muslims are strong in the land, but now the Christians are strong in the sea. So there's this battle. So it started going and attacking the soft parts of the Muslim land. Philippines, why Philippines is called Philippines? It's because.
And the other thing is, okay, the only developed in term of ship, right? Power in the sea is only Ottoman at that time. But Ottoman come to Aceh over there to help them, and then even to Malacca, because Malacca got defeated by Portuguese in 1531, and then they were too far from Istanbul, but yes, they still sent. But the thing is, the technology of those shipmen and cannons, they are not. They give, but because of they defeated, they retreat, so they lost.
Yes.
So they cannot.
So that's during that 50-year period when the Ottomans were sailing all the way to India, to Morocco, to Malacca here, to compete with the Europeans. But after the battle in 1571, that naval power of the Ottomans shrunk, and now the Christians were able to come here. Philippines is after King Philip of Spain. That's why it's called Philippines. It's the name of the King Philip of Spain who went in and conquered Philippines, which was actually, I'm not sure if it was majority Muslim or half Muslim.
Majority Muslim is the one the south of Philippines there?
Currently. But 500 years it was more than that.
It was more than that, because Manila, actually the name of it is Amanillah.
Capital, Amanillah.
Manila. But it become Manila.
Yes.
All of them, their tactic is the same as in Spain. Either you are
converted or die.
Converted or you die.
So the Muslim retreated into the jungle areas in the south, and the areas in the north where they couldn't compete, it was gone. Okay, so if you go to the next one, and you see now the Dutch are actually starting to expand in these islands that are parts of Indonesia now that are less dense population. So 1603, 1610.
610.
No, there is a one there, but I don't know why the zoom is not. 1700. They're still getting there. 1740. They're getting still in the weak spots, and then you see them. Sumatra, Sumatra is the one above it. Yeah, I think this is Sumatra, where it's the main land of Indonesia. They started getting it in the 1800s. Okay, next one. Okay, so that's our first stop. Next stop, India. So this is the first key battle, right? We lost the navy, we start losing the small, weaker isolated islands far away in Philippines and in the far less populated islands in Indonesia and in Africa and stuff like that. Now, Battle of Palaj, 1757. Now, the British are here in Bangladesh, and in Bangladesh at that time, India was very divided between like.
Bengal Army, is that British Army? No, I don't know.
So the Bengal army is Muslim Bengal, and the Bengal was separated from the rest of India because the central government in Delhi was very weak, and now India is divided into maybe 8 or 9 competing kingdoms. Maybe 3 of them are Hindu and another 5 or 6 Muslim kingdoms, and they're all competing. Some of them still pay tribute to the Sultan in Delhi, nominal tribute. Some of them don't even. So in Bengal, which is not nowadays Bangladesh, it is the whole area in northeastern India. It's way bigger than nowadays Bangladesh. This was one of the strongest Muslim kingdoms that got separated from Delhi. And the guy, the ruler of it was called the Nawab. Nawab is like the representative of the Sultan. Now it's truly independent. Okay, so there is a young guy called Siraj ad-Dawla, and he has a huge army, 50,000 men. Okay, so he goes into Calcutta, and in Calcutta he goes and defeats the British, and he gets some of the British, put them in a prison, and they die out of a heat stroke. They are mistreated and they die out of a heat stroke. Now, there is another here in the East India, another British general. He decided to take revenge. Now, he needs money. Who paid him money to do this revenge? The Jews? The banks? No. It wasn't a Muslim. It was a, what is that religion it's another religion. Not Sikh, not Hindu, not Muslim, but it's a Bengali, very wealthy family. I forgot the religion. Not Muslim, some pagan religion. Jai, yes, I think. Yeah, I think Jain.
Yeah.
I think that's the religion. So there is this very wealthy banker family, and they pay huge sum of money to the British to come fight the Bengalis. And why they do that? Because they suspect truly that Siraj ad-Dawla wants to just get in and get their money, right? They lended the Bengal government a lot of money, and instead of paying them back, why can't we just get the rest of the money that they have? So they started conspiring with the British. Oh. So now the British have like 3,000 soldiers in general. It wasn't much. And the true British were like 1,000 or 750 only. So very small army. You see this comparison, and there is no way, right? Okay. And let's flip to the next page. Yeah. So a very small British army hiding in some mango plantation, and huge 50,000 Bengali army. Now, General Clive, before he attacked, he contacted Mir Jafar. Mir Jafar is the grand chief of the army, and he is the uncle of Siraj ad-Dawla. Siraj ad-Dawla is the and Mir Jafar is not happy that this young boy is the ruler, is the Nawab, right? His nephew. So he doesn't like that fact. So he conspires with the British. So he conspires with the British. The battle starts. The British starts firing. This group doesn't join. That group doesn't join. That group doesn't join. Who is fighting? There was a small cannon French group with Siraj ad-Dawla. And the French were the actual ones who are doing most of the fighting to protect Bengal, because of course They want to be the one dominant, not the British. And the small, not very small actually, there was a contingency about 5 to 10,000 soldiers that are still loyal. What happens is the leader of this group that is fighting gets a cannonball and gets injured and gets killed.